Welcome to Third Sunday Tea Talk Show, where we educate, advocate, and we celebrate. And we are so delighted and grateful to have with us today a very special person that I absolutely love. And that is Dr. Tasheka Green, our 2022 Mother of the Year. Welcome to the show, Dr. Green.
Thank you, Dr. Akita. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so very much.
We just celebrate all of our viewing and listening audience members. We have been at this space for 7 years now. We were on location and the Lord blessed us where we could use social media in and out of studios and now consistently on Zoom, but we are grateful to be here. So, Dr. Green, please share a little bit about who you are before we get all into celebrating mothers on today.
Well, absolutely. So again, thank you for having me. First, I tell everybody my first assignment is always a wife, then a mom, and then of course a servant of God. And under that, I have so many different, I call them assignments and not titles. So I have been an educator for over 20 years. I am also a speaker. I am a transformational coach. I am an author. I think I'm up to perhaps maybe 18 books now. Of 18 books I've authored or collaborated with others. I'm also the president, CEO, and founder of To Everything There's a Season. And under To Everything There's a Season, we have different pillars. And so we have the pillar to learn, which is To Everything There's a Season Learning Academy and Consultants. And we have a pillar to give, which is the Depressie Offer Bulgin Memorial Foundation that I started in my mom's name, who passed away in 2010 of stage 4 stomach cancer. And then we have the pillar to serve, and that's where I honor women in my mom's name through the Women of Virtue Walking in Excellence. And so that's who I am, and we get more into things when we begin our conversation.
Oh, wow. So you all see why I just had to have her come to share with us on today. For you, those of you who are just joining us, welcome to Third Sunday Tea Talk Show, where we educate, advocate, and we celebrate. And today we are continuing to celebrate mothers, celebrate mothers. We had our national holiday last week, but mothers ought to be revered and celebrated absolutely every day of the Year. Even if a person has not birthed a child, if they stood in the gap and served in that capacity, we salute you on today as well. We salute you. So Dr. Green just shared a little bit about herself, which is a lot. It's a lot. And we're going to move right into the Maryland Mother of the Year. What is the impetus for that? What is the foundation? Where did it come from?
Absolutely. So American Mothers, Inc. is a national organization. It was founded in 1937. And under this organization, it was founded to empower, to inspire, to honor, to enlighten moms around the United States of America. So each state has a local chapter or local association. And so the Maryland Association is the local chapter of the American National Mothers Association. So within that, each state nominates a mother. And so there's just nominations that are provided. A nominating committee looks through the application process. There's an interview. There's so many different things that takes place. And then they select the mother that will represent their state for that year. And so after you're selected by your national, your local association, you actually have an opportunity to become the National Mother of the Year. And so on April 30th, we had the 87th convention of the National Mother of the Year, which was given to another wonderful lady out in Colorado. So I serve as the 2022 Maryland American Mother of the Year. And within that, I have a platform that I go out and I just lead the work around really empowering moms, honoring moms in Maryland. And so we will be having lots of things going on, and I know you'll get into that later as well, that I can share some of the things we've already had and that will be coming up that everybody can join. And of course, anybody can join their local association. So if you're Maryland, you can join Maryland. If you're Virginia, you can join Virginia. In Washington, D.C., you can join Washington. And I'll tell you how to do that as well. So that's what I do. And just serving in the state of Maryland and in the United States, we actually have 85 million moms. And so just think about the impact that each local chapter had, because there's 85 million moms in the United States of America.
Wow. So it started in 1936 or 38? What was the year?
1937.
1937. And it was started to, can you repeat that again?
Yes, to empower, to honor, to enlighten, to celebrate women and help them to reach their greatest potential as it relates to them being a mom and even serving in the community. So one thing that they really look at is the aspect of how you are serving in your community, how you are making a difference, how you're playing an influential part in someone else's life. And so, with that being said, I have the Women of Virtue Walking in Excellence, where I've already have been honoring women since 2014. I've been doing this, and I just recently calculated that since I started, I have honored 160 women over the time in the name of my mom. So it's called the Deborah C. Alfred Bulgen Women of Virtue Walking in Excellence Award. And so I was even highlighting, because one of the actual new shows on the OWN Network, the couple that's on there, I honored her in 2017. And so yeah, it was great to see her in her own light. But she actually was honored in 2017. So, and then some other community outreach things I do as well. Again, in honor of my mom, I do give a scholarship to a student that is graduating from high school, entering into a college. And so that's another thing we've been doing since 2014, and many things, the food share, toy drive, things of that nature. So just been doing a great work since 2014. And I tell people that really my mom had to die so that I could live, because I was very ordinary. I was just going day by day, just showing up at work in the aspect that I was doing, from a classroom teacher to a principal, actually, when she passed away. And I was just showing up and oh, I'm just going to be the best educator ever. But it was so much more, and I didn't know how much more there was until actually my mother passed away. And what I say all the time is, legacy is not what you accomplish, is what you prepared others to do. And so my mother prepared me for this work. She just passed the mantle on to me. She did the same thing when I look at myself and what I'm doing. My mother did all of this. She was a resource. She was a community outreach. She helped people to write grants. And even one of the women that was honored last year didn't even know this, Dr. Pearson. Her name is Dr. Barbara, Miss Lady Barbara Palmer. And her and her
Okay.
husband have a
Yeah.
church and a lot of nonprofits and things going on. Didn't even know this. She was honored and nominated for one of the Women of Virtue in my mom's name. And she said to me, my husband reminded me that when we first started our church and our nonprofit, it was your mother that was at the table writing the grant for us. And I said, what did you say? Didn't even know it. Didn't even know it. And so her life continues on. Her legacy is continuing on. And she has prepared me to continue the work. And so, the work that I'm doing, again, I say I was just ordinary until my mother passed away and that mantle was passed. And I've just been carrying it ever since.
Wow. For those of you who have just joined us, welcome to Third Sunday Tea Talk Show, where we educate, advocate, and celebrate. And I tell you, Dr. Green has provided some very encouraging words to us thus far in our show, just talking about how she evolved and how her mother was so very important in who she is today and the work that she continues to do in the community and as a mother. She also shared information in reference to her organization, the Maryland chapter, the national chapter. And I know there's some very good information because it's important as women and as mothers that we support each other. And she shared so many different aspects of how she has been blazing a trail to support others. Can you share, Dr. Green, how you juggle all of this, because you have two lovely children? How do you juggle this, because they're small, they're not adults, and all the different things that you do, and it just goes to show how important motherhood is, but staying focused, even though you're helping the community and doing all the other things that you do, but you're able to be a wife and mother first.
Yes, yes. So I'm a wife, and as you said, I've been married to my husband for 14 years, 14 years. I do have an older son that's 24. So I was a single mom for some while from 1997 until I married my husband in 2008. And then we have two children, Michaela, who is 11, and William Jr., who's 9. Also, operating my own business and doing all this, also homeschool. And so, I homeschool my children as well. And with that being said, I when I look at that aspect of juggling and balancing, I always make peace a priority, right? Peace is a priority in my life and in my home, and it organizes everything about my life. And I simply just really prioritize on the things that matter the most. And I set the time aside to give to myself, my own undivided attention, and to escape from the busyness of life, right? I really learned, I learned I had to do that because I could not give to my husband and my children and everything else if I wasn't at a place called peace. And, when people think of juggling and balance and all of that, you can't balance everything in a 24-hour day, because balance simply, Dr. Akita, is you give everything the same equal amount of time. Well, we were just talking before the show that I need to get more rest, right? We need to talk
Right.
about like how we need to get more rest and more sleep, right? And we know our body needs at least 6
That's
to 8
right.
hours of sleep, right? We spend 8 hours, maybe more, 12 working. So you try. So what I tell people all the time is that you need to have a healthy mixture. And that's what I learned for myself, is that I had to have a healthy mixture of I'm purposeful rather than busy. Like when people come to me and they say, oh, you're so busy. No, I'm not. I'm purposeful and I'm intentional. So
All
let's see
right.
if we align with what this purpose and these intentions are. And so I'm purposeful and intentional. I maximize my time by prioritizing what matters the most. My family is what matters the most to me. And I have to ensure. So even yesterday, I spoke yesterday morning, and then I spoke all day yesterday afternoon at a conference. And then they had the night part of the conference, and I wasn't on camera. I was off, but I was still there. And the young lady said, Dr. Green, you're in the bed. I said, nope, I'm still here. I was like, but my son is here with me and we're doing something, but but I'll be listening. So I have to ensure those things. And even while he was there, he was tuned in to some of the things that they were being said and asking those questions. And I answered right in that space. And then the other thing that I said, which is very important, is making sure that you get that rest, because your rest today is going to empower you tomorrow. I can't do anything that I am doing now or preparing for the future if I don't rest myself, if I don't be still, if I don't quiet my mind, if I don't, take care of my body, things of those natures. That is so important to me. So really, to juggle it all, I say get away, do away with the juggling. Don't even think about balancing, but start having this healthy mixture to integrate all the aspects of your life, and don't try to see things in isolation, but rather how you can do it in collaboration.
Wonderful. So that's the one word that came to mind while you were talking. What moms need to do is to focus on self-care.
Absolutely.
That self-care is very important, because I think when we talk about focusing on moms and looking at the role of moms, and even moms who you homeschool, your family is first. Other moms may be feeling as though they're overwhelmed because of all of the different challenges that they have to do. They have to be the caregiver, they have to be the driver, they have to be the cook, all the various things that mom has to do. And to remember that as you're taking care of everyone else, it's so very important to take care of yourself. So thank you for sharing the aspect of getting rest and being at a place of peace, and what keeps you grounded in that element of peace. What is it?
Absolutely. It's God. God is my everything. And so what Kiki said, that I will give you a peace that will guard your heart and your mind, right? And so that is how I guard my heart and my mind, is through the peace of God. And just waking up every morning and praying, and staying in the Word, and worshiping, and having worship music on. I mean, all of that is how I do and keep myself in a place called balance, if we want to use that word, and stable, okay, and in a place of position that I'm always having what I could say is an ear to hear also, because a lot of times, Akita, and I even was talking about this yesterday, that every idea is not a good idea, right? Every opportunity is not a good opportunity. And so now I want to ensure, going back to being purposeful, that it's a God idea, that it's a God opportunity. And if I'm not in position to hear, if I'm not in a position to clearly see, then I could just be doing stuff. And guess what? I'm just going to be busy. And busy, to me, sometimes leads to unproductivity. And then that's when you begin to frustrate yourself, and you begin to have these distractions and things. And I can't do that, because what? Peace is my priority, right? And so I speak peace, I lean into peace, I claim peace every day, right? And that's what I have to do. And I thank peace, because as a man thinking, so is he. It could be so much going on in my house. My children could be fighting each other. I mean, they could be running back and forth over my head, but peace, be still. I'm going to speak to that wind and that wave. You're going to be peaceful and you're going to be still. I'm just saying. And when I get up from here, it's all going to be in order. But that's exactly how I have to do it. I trust God, and He's my everything. I mean, there's so much, like, I don't know what questions you're going to ask, but there's so much along this motherhood journey that I have encountered, right? So I've encountered loss. I talked about, losing my mom in 2010, but I lost my grandma also in 2019. I've encountered, all three of my children are totally different. My oldest, again, being a single mom in college, right? I was in college. I started school in 1994. 1997, he was born. So, the typical 4-year program, no, it took me 6 years, okay? And then I went back and got my master's still while I was single mom. My daughter, Michaela, who's considered twice exceptional, right? She's twice exceptional because she's gifted and talented, but then she has other health impairments, right? And so with that being said, and then my son, William, when he was born, his oxygen levels wouldn't stay up. And so we're praying and we're trusting God through that. And then, I've lost the job, I was eliminated from position. I've been homeless, standing in food lines, all of that, right? But through it all, guess the only thing that I had that kept me together was God. And so when you ask me that question, it makes me think of all the goodness of Jesus and all he's done for me. And so I'm grateful. And so what more can I
Yes.
but to celebrate him. And each and every day when I inhale and exhale, I have to inhale his love and exhale a praise. He's been so kind to me. And I say that because he has. Well, I tell people that you see the product, but you don't understand the process that I had to go to get through the result. And the thing is, though, I had to go through it because on the other side was God. And he was just there waiting for me to say, listen, I need you to get back in order. Listen, I need you to align to your purpose. Listen, these are violent interruptions in your life because you are not walking in the path that I ordered. Listen, and let me tell you something. Once God teach you a lesson, you don't need to tell me to teach me no more lessons because listen. Okay, so
Yes.
how do I keep this together? I acknowledge him in all my ways and he directs my path. That's how I keep it together. I put God first. And if I notice myself starting to go a little way, girl, you better get yourself back here. It's not about you. You're not going to make no little I or no little G out of yourself. No idols you got. It's all about you. And so I'm very careful now with the words that come out of my mouth, the things that I say, I would say again, the opportunities that I take, it has to be all God because I've learned the lesson. And so now I need to teach others the principles.
Hallelujah. Now that's our 2022 Mom of the Year. That she's representing us. Let me tell you, even though you're representing Maryland, you're representing the world. I tell you, thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome.
People are healed through the testimonies.
Absolutely.
And someone on this platform needed to hear that today. And I am just so very grateful of your being your authentic self. It's not, you got to beat around the bush. You're going to lay it on the line as it relates to being a mother and all the different things that it takes to do it well and not just in it by yourself. You know that God is the foundation of where you are and all the different experiences that you've had. So we are so very grateful to have you representing us as Maryland's Mother of the Year. And believe you me, not only are we grateful, but we're going to support you. So can you begin to tell us about all the exciting things that you have planned and then where we can go to support in that particular journey? Because I know that as being your experience as a single mom, me being a single mom, there are a lot of single moms. And I have a dear sister that I call her my sister. She's not my biological sister, but we claim to be sisters, and we were doing this journey together. She had one son, I had a daughter, and we attend church together. And it was so interesting because being single and then being in a traditional church, people look at you a certain way, and so we would kid and joke about it. And it was one Sunday where it was a guest speaker. And he came in and his experience was different from our experience as single moms because we were handling our business. And he just gave a whole bad rap to single moms. He was just, the worst. He was just saying the worst about single moms. And I was like, wow, this is quite interesting to be in this kind of forum where it should be uplifting and exhilarating and just empowering, but it turned into discouraging people. And she was so discouraged, she left. She just got up and left. And I stayed until it was over, and then I left. But I was like, wow, people have this concept of what moms should be and who they are and what that image. It's just a one image kind of platform that they put you in, but it's not so, because a lot of the single mothers I know, they are doing extremely well. They've raised wonderful children and they have given back to their communities, and they are on the ball. So go ahead and you have the floor, Dr. Green.
Yes, well, I want to share the what you had stated earlier, how others can get involved, but I want to add something to what you just said. because you said, okay, we have single moms, right? We have moms, we have stepmoms. We even have now, people call bonus moms, we have
Yeah.
adopted moms, foster moms. We have all of these different titles for moms, right? But what we need to understand is that mom, mother, motherhood, stepmom, single mom, it's not a title, it's an assignment. So that
Mm.
is simply why when you just said, but they've done great things with their children. Their children are, wonderful. And yeah, because it's an assignment. It's not about the title. So even as a single mom, when I was a single mom from 1997 to 2008, I still made sure that I nurtured my son. I still made sure I
Yeah.
loved him, poured wisdom into him and things of that nature. And so it's an assignment because as moms, we have a lifelong mission to influence our children today and in the future because we're seed planters, right? We're planting seeds into their life. And so that regardless of what type of mom you are, just be the mom that you need to be, that you were assigned to be for that child and their life, and make sure that you nurture him and her and provide for them and protect. And guess what? I always say, if Dr. Akita, that your children will reproduce what we produce. So you think
Mm.
about what are you producing for your children, because they're just going to reproduce that. They're going to be a reflection of what they see. That our children will see and live life through the eye of what we have helped them with. And so don't get stuck in the title, but just making sure that we fulfill the assignment. And so that's why, as the 2022 Maryland Mother of the Year, I don't even look at it as a title. It's an assignment. It's another way for me to share the light and love of God with others and to continue to make his name known in the earth. Like, I didn't ask for this. It came to me. And now that it came to me, I have to make sure that I'm loyal to the assignment and that I'm found in his will. And so with that being said, we have been doing a lot of things prior to me even coming, but my platform is to empower, to educate, and to encourage the whole family. And so all the things that I will be doing along with the Maryland Association of American Mothers is simply to empower the whole family. So starting this work, we actually celebrated Autism Acceptance Month. Just last month, we did that. I'm celebrating Autism Acceptance Month, and really supporting and helping moms with that as well, because one of the things that glared out in the research around children with autism is that the moms felt alone. They felt like they didn't
Mm.
have anyone, they didn't have any resources. Marriages ended up in divorce because of the problems they were having. Moms that contemplated suicide, that fell into depression. And so as we are accepting Autism Awareness Month and understanding the children, but we also have to know that what's going on with the moms. And so we just did that. In May, we just did a Mommy and Me virtual tea, which was wonderful. It was called a Mommy and Me virtual tea, a world affair. And so it's an opportunity for moms and their daughters to come together, and we celebrated, play some games. Everybody walked away with a Mommy and Me journal. So we did that in May. Coming up in June. So we know that school is going to be out soon, and moms will be home with their children, or spending a lot more time with their children. And so we are going to do a summer reading program for the children and the moms. And so we're going to just do like a free ice cream giveaway. And then the families can sign up for a summer reading program and do some check-in with them as well. So that's coming up in June. And then July, we're actually going to have a 1 week virtual camp. And with that being said, what will happen is we're going to really teach the families around financial literacy, arts integration, character education, and we're going to teach them some Spanish to give them the opportunity to learn Spanish. So we're going to do that in July. And then August, we're going to be preparing our families for school coming back. And then, of course, the holidays, we'll be doing our food drive as well as our toy and coat giveaway. So it's already mapped out for the year. We have a lot of great things coming up. And we also meet, Dr. Akita, every second Tuesday via Zoom. And so I would love to see some mothers in the state of Maryland joining us. So you can go to www.americanmothers.org. And if you go there, you're going to say join now, and you just join now, and it's $30 for the year. It's not nothing that's too expensive. I mean, we spend that now in a meal, and you go get some bread, milk, and eggs, and you done. I'm just saying.
Mhm.
So $30 to join www.americanmothers.org. And once you join, you will get all the information with the meetings and all of the great events. And even if you don't join, please come out and celebrate with us. A lot of things are posted on our Facebook page or even on my website. And my website is www.2eseasons.com. It's www, the number two, the letter E, seasons.com. And so that's a way for you to join us and celebrate with us the assignment of being a mom.
Oh, wonderful. Those of you who may have joined us in the latter part of this particular show, welcome to Third Sunday Tea Talk Show, where we educate, advocate, and we celebrate. And we are here with Maryland's 2022 Mom of the Year, Dr. Tasheka Green. And she has, I tell you what, she has shared her testimony. It has truly blessed me, and I know that it has blessed others. She has shared, oh my goodness, how she just came alive. And even in the midst of losing her mom and her grandmother, she has just taken a stance and has really capitalized on some of the life giving that they have done. So we are truly grateful to have her with us on today, even sharing challenges as a mom and how she has been able to overcome a lot of challenges, homeschool her children, and even with one of her daughter having was it autism?
She actually, she's twice exceptional, so she's gifted and talented.
Twice, okay.
And her other health impaired is ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and ODD, oppositional defiant. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
it
how
falls
would
on that spectrum? Yes, it falls on that autism spectrum.
Yeah. So oftentimes when children have when they are exceptional, individuals look at them a certain way. Parents feel a little inferior. They may not know how to get help. How do they get support? And I'm just so very grateful that you're here to share with us what is some advice and some resources that you would encourage parents to do who may have an exceptional child.
Absolutely. So before I get into the resources, I want to just talk about this one word is advocate, right? Mm-hmm. You have to advocate for your child because for so long that, they wanted to keep my child in this box, right? And I had to advocate for them to throw the box away because she has so much to give. And when you're twice exceptional in her aspect, they only focus on one area and not on the other. So they were focusing more on the ADHD and ODD rather than this child, her IQ is at a level where we need to be stretching her even the more. And so I had to advocate to ensure that she was getting what she needed, not just, the supports as with her ADHD, but also being gifted and talented. And so advocate, right? And so I always say that my daughter, Michaela, really taught me about how to advocate, how to stand for equity and inclusion, and to ensure access for all children. So the first thing I'm going to say is to advocate for your child and your children. And then the next thing is ask questions. Even though I'm an educator and I'm not saying I know all the answers, but when I go in, I'm a mom. Like when I sit at the table with them, I am not the educator. I am the mom. So I'm going to ask the questions because I want to know, do you know the answers? Okay. And so ask the questions, research around what it is that you should be getting and what your children should be getting. Don't come to the table and just accept what they tell you. Ask those questions, ensure that they're getting the things that they need. And then, pull on the resources. So when my daughter was 3, Dr. Akita shared this story. When she was 3, she actually got put out of daycare, right? And so when she got put, I went to the daycare. It was a little note on the cubby and said, "Thank you, but your daughter cannot return tomorrow." And I was like, okay, like couldn't I got no warning or something? I'm just saying I do work. So with that being said, I went in the car and I cried. Why did I cry? Honestly, because I thought I had failed as a mother. Okay. I
Mm.
thought I had failed as a mother. I thought it was something that I did that my child, didn't get. Or even during that time when I was pregnant with her, my mother passed away in March of 2010. I gave birth to my daughter in June of 2010. I didn't know what emotional impact that I was going through that might have played a role on her. And even after she was born, Dr. Akita, I went through postpartum depression. Like my daughter asked me what was my first words. I said, Daddy. Like my husband got up at night and took care of her. And then also because of the postpartum depression, guess what came along with that? It's friends, anxiety and worry, right? And
Yeah.
so then here comes anxiety and worry. So I was back and forth at the hospital because every little thing was wrong with me, right? So
Mhm.
with that being said, I blamed myself and I put this guilt on myself that my daughter is the way she is because of me. And so as you are advocating moms, also what I want to help the moms with is that you have to forgive yourself, right? You have to take the guilt off. You have to take the shame off. You have to take
Yes.
everything that you have in your mind that you're saying, I did this to my child, right? Because all of that plays into how you are going to continue to help to develop your child. And you don't want it to be a hindrance or distraction. And so I had to get to a place where I had to forgive myself and say, okay, you might have gone through these things or you might have did what they said, but you are not who you say they are, and neither is your child. And so I had to do that. This is the funny part of it all, right? So when I'm sitting in a car and I'm crying and I'm going through all of this, my grandmother who was still living, I called her up and I'm just thinking grandma's gonna, dry my eyes and give me these calming words and help me get through this. You know what grandma said? Grandma said, girl, if you don't get yourself together and stop all that crying and bring that baby down here right now, what you think I'm still here for? And it made me realize, like, exactly, like basically it was like, you know what you're doing, you know what you have to do. You're a great mom. What are you crying for? You have been taught. Remember, I'm your grandmother. I taught you. Your mother taught you. You have been built on strong women. They understood the assignment. And so we prepared you for this, that anything that you come up against, you'll be able to stand. And so I say that to say, moms, advocate. Moms, forgive yourself. Moms, research, ask questions, and pull on your resources. And when after grandma had watched her for some time, I did put her in another child care. And they went and they said, oh, we know exactly what you need. We went to Child Find. Child Find came into that daycare. They started working with her. They, put some things in place. And the same problem she had at the other daycare, she didn't even have there. And so with that being said, and continue to, pull on those resources and build things and to support her. So I share my own experience of what we have went through so that others can hear and understand what they need to do in order to support their children as well.
Wow. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing your story. It is truly powerful. It is truly invigorating, and it's truly a source of strength for our viewing and listening audiences. So we're going to open it up for questions. If there's anyone who have a question for Dr. Green, come off of mute. Even if you don't have a question, if you have a comment, come off and feel free to ask her a question at this particular time, question or comment. It looks like we don't have any questions or comments at this time. I know there was some comments, some great comments in the chat box earlier, but you mentioned something in reference to grandmother, in the important role that grandmother played in your life and in the life of of your daughter. How important or is that support system for grandmothers, their mothers as well, 2, 3, 4 times over sometimes? And how important is that? And what are some of the things that they can continue to do? That story of empowerment to show you that you did have the strength was very encouraging and uplifting.
Absolutely, absolutely. So My children, they don't have any living grandmothers, right? Their grandmothers are both deceased. And so I always tell people I'm like everything. I'm the mother, I'm the grandmother, I'm the godmother, I'm the aunt. So my children are literally with me all the time, all the time. And so it is important, the part that grandmothers play because they really didn't experience that. My grandmother, which is a great grandmother, was there with them. And again, she passed away 2019. But, even growing up, in a middle class single parent home, with my mom, always grounded in God and truth, her strong beliefs. And even the three women that were impactful, my great great grandmother Rena, my grandmother Lucille, and of course my mom, they, again, I go back, that they understood the assignment, right? And what was the assignment? The assignment was to leave a legacy of love. That's simply it. That to leave a legacy of love, and that love that they instilled in me is for my family and also the world. It's for people that I see that I believe love is simply this. Love is commitment to someone else's victory. That's what love is. That I'm committed to seeing my family win. I'm committed to seeing others win. I'm committed to seeing others to be great. And that unconditional love that I have for my family is the fuel that simply keeps me going. I mean, when I look at my family, I inhale so much gratitude and I exhale love, and I do everything that I can, Dr. Akita, to ensure that they have that. But guess what? That is because someone instilled that in me. And that was great grandma Rena, my grandma Lucille, and my mom Deborah. And so, when I think about that, even though we just celebrated Mother's Day, which sometimes it's hard for me, but
Mhm.
it's not because I really celebrate their memories. I, celebrate their legacy. I celebrate their love. And so it's not a time, of course, we think of them, but I'm
Right.
never like sad, and things of that nature because they instilled so much in me and they really left their footprints on the earth. They smeared their fingerprints all over my life. And what I love the most is that they were a Proverbs 31 woman.
All
That's
right.
they were Proverbs 31 woman that wisdom and instruction flowed from their tongue. And those invaluable words that they taught me, it planted seeds of hope. It watered my and nurtured my dreams. It protected the journey that I'm on. Like, some things I do, I'd be like, mama said, mama said, mama said, mama said. And if I didn't remember what mama said, I remember what that switch said, okay?
Yes.
You go there and you pick your switch and house, okay? That was lawful instruction right there. So with that being said, I just remember all of those things and I take that and I always say that look at your life and see if it's worth replicating, right? Is it
Mhm.
something that you did, you said, or even believe that someone will want to take what you have done and make it greater? And that's what I've done. I've taken what great grandma Rena and my grandma Lucille, my mom have done, and I'm just making it greater. And that's simply it. So yes,
Wonderful.
grandparents
Wonderful.
are important.
Wonderful. For those who are just joining us, we are here with Maryland's 2022 Mother of the Year, Dr. Tasheka Green, and she is more than deserving to represent us. Those of you who are just joining, we put in the chat earlier how you can tap into all the wonderful opportunities and things that are available at www.americanmothers.org, and especially how to get in contact with Dr. Green at www.2eseasons.com, www.2eseasons.com. And if you could once again, Dr. Green, share the various opportunities as far as books, the work that you have begun even before becoming Maryland's 2022 Maryland Mother of the Year. You have a couple of different organizations that you created, a business that you run. So please tell individuals a little bit more about that for those who may have come on late, and how they may be able to tap into the resources that you provide.
Absolutely. So my business name is To Everything There's a Season. And that was birthed out of actually a book that I wrote. It was my first book that I wrote, which is called To Everything There's a Season. It's your season, go and live. And when my mom passed away, it had impacted me so much, Dr. Akita. And I just prayed to God. I said, God, you got to help me. I was like, because I am in a place and I just don't know how to get out of it. And so God said to write. And so I began to write. And once I finished writing, and if you, as an author, you know, most of the time we write the book and then we go back and put the title, right? And
Right.
so when I wrote the book, at the end, I realized that each season something was happening, you know, in my life. And so that's where the title came to Everything There is a Season. And when I wrote that book back in 2010, it was never published and released until 2014 because I didn't want to share from a place of still hurt or grief.
Hmm.
I wanted to share from a place where I can inspire, help, and provide hope. And so, with that being said, in 2014, I did release that book, but then also that's where my business name started, To Everything There's a Season. And from that, it just branched off to so many different things. So I am a full-time educational consultant and coach, and I work with school districts all over the United States, right here in Maryland, in Boston, Washington State, Delaware, and next year I'll be working with schools in Rochester, New York, and Georgia. And so God has been
Wonderful.
so kind to me, and all of, and I'll get back to that. So I
Uh-huh.
do that now as a full-time education consultant and coach, and I also support two colleges, Bowie State University, yes, BSU, and
Yes.
Harvard. Also, I'm a teaching fellow with Harvard for two programs. So excited about that. And so that's what I do as far as the education consultant. And also I'm a coach. So I coach individuals on personal, professional, leadership, education, development. So I do personal coaching. Clients that want to start a business and just don't know how, I do that as well. I do all of that. And then also I not only write, but I publish books. And so I published several books of many people. And so I publish books and provide coaching of writing a book and things of that nature and consulting as it relates to that. And then, of course, I have the Learning Academy and the homeschooling going on, right? And so I even saw a question. We'll get to the question by Ms. Warren, what motivated you to homeschool your children? So, can I answer that now as I can?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, what motivated me to homeschool my children, Ms. Warren, when the pandemic hit, we were on virtual learning from March of 2020. And then the school system in which my children attended, they could remain on virtual learning until January of 2022. And so when it was time for my children to go back to school, in particular my Michaela, again, there were no supports in place for her. She would have been in a classroom with about 40 students. She wouldn't have received any honors or advanced classes. And the things that was outlined in her individual educational plan, they did not have them ready for her when she started. And so here it is, a child that's been home since March of 2020, almost 2 years, ready to go back to school, and there was nothing in place for her. So I had to look at it. Am I setting my child up for success, or am I setting her up for failure? And do I play, what do I need to do now? And so with that being said, that's when I chose to homeschool my daughter as well as my son. He's home as well. And I put some things in place to support them. Along with the purposeful schedule I have, we really have some systems and structures in place so that they are getting their ongoing instruction every day. Fridays, I do block out Fridays all day, so I don't do anything on Fridays. So we have field trip Fridays. So we go out, we do things together, we integrate learning into that aspect. They have, the reading that they do all week. We even do our Bible lessons in the lesson set. So I could really not have to do the traditional way to learning, but the way that meets their needs. And so, because they do have diverse needs, they really do. They have such diverse needs. I have to make sure that I'm addressing it to meet their needs. So that's why I selected to homeschool my children, because the things that were needed to be in place weren't in place. And I knew that I did not want to set them up to fail, because failure is not an option for my children. It's not for any child. So with that being said, along with the work that I do support families, coach families when it comes to different aspects of learning with their children. So that's why I chose to homeschool my children, because what's good for mine is good for all. Also, with that, I am again the president of Women of Virtue Walking in Excellence. which is one of the platforms where we celebrate and honor women who made an influential impact in their community in the world. And this year will be year 8, and we do that every October. So this year we'll be celebrating the last Saturday in October. It's been virtual for a couple of years, and I'm still debating if I'm going to do face to face or not. But once I decide, I will definitely share that with you, Dr. Akita, so you can share the information with your viewing and listening audience. And so we usually just do 2 days. We have a conference on that Friday, and on that Saturday we have our celebration. And so that will be this year. So we hope to see some people there. And perhaps maybe you have someone you want to honor and nominate. Please do. We'll have those nominations coming forth soon. And then along with that, I do an anthology. So I do an anthology. It's the only anthology that I do, and it's called Women of Virtue, Walking in Excellence, Inspirational Stories of Character, Wisdom, Courage, and Strength. And so I do this anthology, and women that want to share their stories of being a women of virtue, women that want to inspire others, women that perhaps, I say that I know I'm supposed to write, but haven't, had time to do it. And they are first time authors. And so their first time experience is writing in the anthology. And what I've noticed is once you start writing, you never stop. You keep writing and writing and writing. And so most of these ladies that were first time authors, I mean, they are just, they're writing some great work of, individually as well as others. So that, I think I covered everything. And of course, the scholarship that we give out the scholarship in October at our annual event. So that's just who I am. I mean, I'm a part of another organization that I love dear to my heart as well, Sister for Sister Network Incorporated. And actually the president of that organization, Peggy Morris, was the first one that I met that actually helped me along my business journey. And that's what it is, the sisters helping sisters to connect, as well as helping the women in business. And so I'm just very grateful. I tell everybody all the time, I have an attitude of gratitude and a posture of thanksgiving. I'm very grateful because, again, I say to it, the Lord has been kind to me. And that, people always say, oh, you deserve it. Listen, trust me, I don't deserve it. It's just God's mercy and his grace that he has given to me, and also his favor, because he says favor is for a lifetime. But remember,
That's
after
right.
that, it said weeping may endure for a night. So that favor is not going to come easily, right? And I even learned that, when you have the favor of God, God also needs a favor. So how are you being a favor for him to others? And how are you being a favor to serve? How are you being a favor that you see that one that is sinking, that you pull them up out of that place and say, girl, you can make it, because somebody was there that said it to me. And also I always said, my hope is that I can be what I always wanted someone to be to me, but even the more. And so that's just who I am, little old Tasheka Green.
Well,
That's
we
just who
do
I am.
praise God for you, and just so very grateful that you took time out of your schedule to join us here on today, on Third Sunday Tea Talk Show, where we educate, advocate, and celebrate. And I tell you, our time goes by so quickly. Our time goes by so very quickly, because it's just so good, and God is so wonderful, and he is so great. And I just appreciate all that you have given to moms, to sisters, and to individuals throughout the world, because your ministry is just not localized. It is truly global. So we are truly grateful for that. We're down to the end, and my co-host, Evangelist Carolyn Lassine, could not be with us on today, and she always provides a defining moment, And it's just a question for the defining moment today. What are you doing in the meantime? What are you doing in the meantime? And the meantime is where you are right now. And I believe that a lot of what Dr. Green has shared with us, she talked about love. In the meantime, while you're waiting for the blessings to happen, while you are repositioning yourself, while you're in the thick of whatever God has placed your hands to do in this season at this time, Are you praying? Are you loving? Are you being graceful? Are you extending that mercy? Are you praising? Are you praying? And are you worshiping? Think about what you are doing in the meantime while you are waiting for that next opportunity, while you are waiting for the next door to open, while you're waiting for that next assignment. What are you doing in the meantime while you're on assignment? So it's just a defining moment to think about, what are you doing in the meantime? Prayerfully, all of us are praying, we are praising, we are worshiping, and we are loving. And before we all leave on today, because we are celebrating mothers, I would just like for everyone to take a moment to just put one little quote, one little saying in the box of someone who imparted into your life or something that you have imparted to others. And then we're going to read them out, and then we're going to close out. So just take a moment, if you're available, to put a quote, a cliche of someone who has imparted into your life or something that you have imparted into someone else's life. All right, Dr. Ashworth, thank you for being here with us today. She says, believe you are capable of success. Dr. Green said, if you are still here, go and live a purposeful life. And I put in the chat something my mother always told us: if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Anyone else before we close out on today? Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Green, for being with us. Be blessed, everyone. We have a couple of more coming in because we do have a few more minutes. Regardless of your season or circumstances, keep moving. That's from my sister, my friend, my kinship, spiritual leader, Carrie Britt. Then my dear sister, Michelle Brown, don't let others define you. You determine your destiny. My dear friend, Angela, you are blessed to be a blessing. So thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has truly been uplifting, empowering, and encouraging. Dr. Green, God bless you. And we will be following you and supporting you. I'm going to go on and join American Women and pay my $30. Even though I don't have no little ones, I'm always open and willing to serve. And you all who don't have little ones either, you all can do the same thing. So join us in this walk together. Love you guys. Be blessed. And we will see you back here next month, the same time, same place on Third Sunday Tea Talk Show. God bless you.